Hi guys, my name's Daniel and you're watching Big Mech Dance School. It's time to take a look through the pages of issue 9 of Combat Patrol magazine. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you've not already done so. It'll let YouTube know that you like content like mine. Onto the magazine, and this issue comes with 2 pots of paint. That's it, 2 pots. One is £3.70 from Games Workshop and the other £2.75. Meaning the value of the items in this issue is worth less than the cover price for the first time. That total value of £6.45 leaves us £3.54 out of pocket if we were to just pick up this issue. This is the reason it's important to assess the value of the magazine over the entire run, not just the odd issue. The high value issues more than making up for the ones that come with a couple of paints. The weird thing is, there's a brush worth £5 coming in the next issue. If it was in this issue, we'd have nothing to complain about, and as the other thing in the next issue is a character miniature, that issue would still be a valuable one. But second guessing Hatchet Partworks is the first step on the road to madness. That's enough speculation about value for now. Let's get into the magazine. The first 1, 2, 3, 4 pages are dedicated to updating our Space Marines with the new additions to our paint arsenal. Here we concentrate on the armour trim and flexible ribbing at the joints, as well as the bodies of the guns and any trinkets found on the armour. The following 1, 2, 3, 4 pages are dedicated to updating our Tyranids with the black paint we received in this issue. Is 4 pages too much for one colour being added? I wouldn't necessarily say so, no. These magazines are for newcomers to the hobby after all. Space Marine chapters are the focus of the next couple of pages, the first paragraph delving into the origins of the 1,000 warriors per chapter rule, which came about as a result of the Horus Heresy. This was a civil war in the Imperium where 18 Space Marine legions were on either side, 9 turning against the Emperor and siding with Horus, who had been tainted by the gods of chaos. Though the remaining 9 stayed loyal, it was decided after the war that the legion should be broken down into smaller chapters, no more than 1,000 Marines strong, in order to reduce the potential damage that could be done if a chapter fell to chaos. The rest of the text explains that a chapter sits somewhere between an army, a brotherhood of monks, and a warrior tribe. Each chapter descended from one of the original legions, who have since become known as the first founding chapters. These include the Ultramarines, Imperial Fists, and the Salamanders, to name but a few. Over the page we get a brief introduction into 4 chapters that currently exist in the 40k universe, 3 of which are first founding chapters: Blood Angels, Space Wolves, and Dark Angels. The Blood Angels are noble warriors who hide a dark secret, a flaw in their genetic makeup that gives them the potential to give in to a violent bloodlust. Space Wolves retain the identity of their homeworld, each member of the chapter a savage and canny hunter. Dark Angels like to keep secrets, whispering in the corner like a bunch of mean girls. Believe it or not, the Imperium doesn't even know how many chapters exist. For the new hobbyist, this is a vital bit of information, allowing you the freedom to create your own chapter if you're more creatively inclined. The Silver Templars are the other featured chapter on this page, and they also feature in this week's short story, part 2 of Bonds and Honour, part 1 having featured in an earlier issue. We're back with the hapless Sergeant Askathon, who has been handed a mission on the planet where his lost rifle, Judgment, is believed to have fallen. Overrun by a Tyranid swarm so thick it seemed to form a carpet on the planet's surface, Askathon and his squad have the odds stacked against them. Will he lose another weapon, or will the Templars win the day and recover his precious bolt rifle? I'll leave the reading to you. Rules now, advancing and falling back to be more specific. So first, we'll take a look at advancing. The first of 2 pages has a brief discussion about the right time to advance using the extra move to your tactical advantage. When advancing, you normally forfeit your shooting action and charging action unless you have a rule that allows you to do both. In the second image, we are presented with a scenario where the Von Ryan's Leapers have no hope of charging this turn, though that's debatable from the image. But assuming they can't reach the Infernus Marines and engage them at close quarters, They don't want to stay out in the open and give the Marines a chance to shoot at them. In this instance, they roll a d6, resulting in a 5, and that gives them 5 extra inches of movement, allowing them to take cover behind the Tyranid terrain. Another example of when it is good to advance might be if you need a couple of extra inches of movement to get in range of an objective, but I'm sure we'll learn more about that in future. Falling back next, again, there are a few examples of when it might be useful to fall back. If you have a unit that is outclassed by an opponent in combat, you may want to fall back in order to remove them from imminent danger. And so you can move up to that unit's total move characteristic away from the unit you're trying to escape. You may also wish to fall back if you wish to target an enemy unit with a shooting attack, but that unit is currently engaged in combat with one of your own units. In doing so, the unit that fell back cannot shoot unless otherwise stated, nor can it charge later in the turn. However, you will be able to target the formerly engaged enemy models with the rest of your army. Scenario 4. Pitched Battles. This is the most models we've used in a single game, so you may want to give all of these pages a quick read before starting to ensure you're refreshed and less likely to make any rules mistakes. The aim of the mission is to wipe out your opponent's forces, so it's pretty much a last man or last bug standing scenario. The next page has some handy reminders on the rules we've just learned in order to encourage you to use them and make the most of the superior firepower of the Space Marine forces, ensuring you don't get overwhelmed by the sheer numbers of Tyranids. It also gives you some advice for playing solo, letting you know in which order to activate the Tyranids. This helps you reduce the likelihood of bias and prevents you making it too easy for the Space Marines to win the battle. The picture diagram on the following pages breaks it down for you step by step. If you're not fully confident yet, it's a great idea to play through the first turns exactly as they suggest, enabling you to get used to all the things you've learned so far. Once again, we're guided through the Tyranid's first turn, and it gives you appropriate advice for playing both solo or against an opponent. It's worth noting that the Barb Gaunts never charge when playing solo. This is a big tip for the Tyranid player if you've got an opponent. They're far more effective at range than in combat. The picture diagram over the page gives us a hypothetical scenario with an aggressive Tyranid player, moving the Barb Gaunts and Leapers up the field in order to take out as many Infernus Marines as possible, leaving the captain unmolested to be dealt with later. If the Tyranids were victorious, they overrun the Space Marines, heedless of the losses they suffered to get to this point. However, these are no mere beasts hungry for prey. They waste no time in securing the area from further Space Marine incursion. The hive mind is ever vigilant and perhaps detects a new threat emerging. And with that cryptic clue, we turn to the back page. Oh look, a new threat's emerging. It comes in the form of a Space Marine Librarian and Terminator army in issue 10. The following week in number 11, it's another paint issue. I'm not going to lie, it's a little disappointing having more paints come so soon after this issue, but I guess the sooner we get them, the sooner we can complete the paint scheme suggested to us in the mag. That's it for another week. Thanks go out again to Darren McCormack Parker for scanning the mag for me. It looks so much better than the pictures I was taking. Until next time, I'll see you on the battlefield.